Now, the king of Jordan.
Jordan's king.
King of Jordan.
King of the king of Jordan. Jordan's military said it intercepted drones and missiles.
A shameful version of our humanity before our eyes. Nowhere is that clearer than in Gaza.
In the heart of the Middle East lies Jordan, a country surrounded by some of the world's most volatile borders. It neighbors Syria, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Israel, and Palestine, regions that have seen wars, uprisings, and instability for decades. Yet, amid this turbulence, Jordan stands out as an island of calm. Look closely at a map, and you'll see it is physically connected to conflict zones on nearly every side, but somehow, it has avoided the chaos that engulfs its neighbors. This hasn't always been easy. For thousands of years, Jordan has been a vulnerable land, facing invasion after invasion because of its strategic position along routes leading to sacred cities like Jerusalem and Hebron. Babylonians, early Islamic forces, Crusaders, and the Ottoman Empire all left their mark here. Still, in today's world, Jordan remains remarkably stable. What makes this possible? The answers lie in its geography, its history, and a series of deliberate policies. Before we explore them, make sure you've subscribed, liked the video, and hit the bell icon so you never miss our deep dives into the world's most fascinating regions. When you look at Jordan on the map, one thing stands out. It's mostly desert. In fact, around 3/4 of the country is arid land, with some areas getting less than 245 millimeters of rain a year. That doesn't leave much room for farming. Only about 12% of the land can actually be cultivated, and that small slice supports almost 90% of the population. Because of this, Jordan has to import close to 70% of its food. But it's also not just food that's scarce. Natural resources are limited too. Unlike many of its neighbors, rich in oil and gas, Jordan has just one modest gas field, enough to power a single plant. Everything else, energy, fuel, has to come from outside. This lack of resources might seem like a weakness, but it's also one reason Jordan has avoided the conflicts that have torn through some of its neighbors. Jordan's peaceful image today is a sharp contrast to its turbulent past. For thousands of years, this small piece of land has been invaded, conquered, and ruled by empire after empire. Around 3,000 years ago, it was divided among three ancient kingdoms: Ammon, Moab, and Edom. But their independence didn't last. The Assyrians moved in, and soon after, the Babylonians took control. By the 5th century BCE, the Persian Empire ruled the region, until the Greeks under Alexander the Great defeated them. The power struggles didn't stop there. The Romans eventually pushed out the Greeks, bringing roads, cities, and governance. But by the late 6th century, the Persian Empire rose again, clashing repeatedly with the Romans over this land. Then came the 7th century, when Muslim forces defeated both and brought Jordan under Islamic rule for roughly 400 years. In the 11th century, the Crusaders swept in, capturing key areas, but by the 12th century, Muslim forces reclaimed the territory. Through the 15th century, it remained under Muslim control, ruled largely by Egyptian Mamluks. In the 16th century, the Ottomans absorbed Jordan into their empire. Ottoman rule lasted into the 20th century, but the region was never a priority. With little agriculture, no coastline, and few resources, Jordan was mostly neglected, valued mainly as a route to Jerusalem. Local frustration grew, sparking revolts in 1900, 1905, and 1910, all of which the Ottomans crushed. When World War I broke out, the Jordanians sided with the British against their Ottoman rulers. After the Ottomans fell, Britain took control, and Jordan became a British mandate. Finally, in 1946, Jordan gained independence as the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan under King Abdullah Hussein. Independence brought new challenges. The creation of Israel in 1948 set the region on edge, and Jordan joined 7 Arab countries in war. Jordan captured the West Bank and East Jerusalem, ruling over thousands of Palestinians until 1967. That year, during the Six-Day War, Israel seized the West Bank, Golan Heights, Sinai, and Gaza. More conflicts followed in 1970 and 1973, costing Jordan heavily. At the same time, waves of Palestinian refugees poured in, reshaping Jordan's society and economy. The country opened its borders, but by the late 20th century, these pressures made stability difficult. Jordan carried these challenges into the end of the century, up until a turning point in 1999. By the late 1990s, Jordan had been through wars, refugee crises, and economic strain. But in 1999, something shifted. King Hussein, severely ill, named his son, King Abdullah II, as his successor. Abdullah stepped into war at a critical time, and his approach was clear: security and welfare first. Despite Jordan's arid climate and scarce water, his government prioritized infrastructure and basic needs. Today, about 99% of Jordanians have access to clean drinking water, an achievement for a country that receives less than 245 millimeters of rain a year. Abdullah also focused on development. Jordan's Human Development Index stands around 0.74, higher than many of its neighbors. He invested in the economy, but also leaned into Jordan's biggest strength: its history. Sites like Petra became central to his vision. Petra, carved into rose-colored rock, is now one of the 7 wonders of the world. Tourists from Europe, the US, and across Asia come to see it. While countries like Syria and Iraq have equally fascinating ruins, conflict kept tourists away. Abdullah understood that tourism thrives only when safety is guaranteed. Security was always central to his plan. One of his boldest moves came early: signing and maintaining peace agreements with Israel. This was not popular in the Arab world, but it changed Jordan's standing globally. The peace deals made Jordan a strategic ally for the United Kingdom and the United States. Aid and financial support followed, and Abdullah directed much of it toward improving infrastructure and public services. The peace deals were risky. Arab nations were largely hostile to Israel, yet none moved against Jordan. Why? Well, partly because Jordan had done what few others had. It opened its borders and took in refugees on an enormous scale. Today, Jordan hosts nearly 3 million Palestinians, about 1.1 million Syrians, and thousands of Iraqis, Circassians, Armenians, and others. This hospitality eased pressure on countries like Saudi Arabia and the Gulf states, and earned Jordan respect even from those who opposed its ties with Israel. This approach also helped Jordan weather political storms. When the Arab Spring swept across the Middle East in 2011, many governments collapsed or faced chaos. In Jordan, protests were met with dialogue and measured reforms, not force. Stability was preserved, but the region keeps shifting. Recently, Jordan's carefully built image of neutrality has been challenged. Since the Israel-Gaza war began, Jordan has not accepted Palestinians fleeing Gaza, breaking with its own history. And when Iran launched missiles at Israel, Jordan intercepted some over its airspace. These actions angered many Palestinians inside Jordan and strained relations with Iran. Reports suggest that protests and even uprisings by Palestinian communities could emerge, raising concerns for the government. Jordan also watches its northern border closely. The Syrian war and Iran's influence brought armed groups and smuggling networks too close for comfort. King Abdullah has long viewed Iran as a stabilizing force. Protecting the border, even cooperating with Israel, is a priority. Whether this strategy keeps Jordan stable or draws it into conflict is now an open question. Jordan's story is one of resilience and strategy. Want more fascinating insights like this? Like, share, and please subscribe to our channel so we can keep uncovering the world's most intriguing nations and creating more engaging content for you.